Still there? To delete this message, press 7. To save it in the archives, press 9. To hear more options, press 0.
What are you talking about?
Really need to look at the camera. Hi guys, Adam from AT Performance. So this week I'm trying 3 vlogs a week to see how that goes, to bring you shorter videos and more content so we can get into the nitty-gritty of some of the things that I do here. So my wife and I went to a Bob Ross painting class. It was actually Bob Ross's birthday on Monday, so they held a painting class in celebration of that. The very next day, after that awesome night of painting, the first thing I did in the morning was I stubbed my toe and potentially broke my toe, which made coming to work, welding, especially you're on one foot all day, not super enjoyable. It's starting to heal up now. And I only want to bring that up because when you're in business for yourself, often you can't afford the luxury of taking the time off. Even if it's just a rest for the day. Speaking only for myself, I have a lot of back orders and people rely on me to get those jobs out, as well as my livelihood to get that work out. And moving on from there, I'm going to bring you guys along now as I make some EVO 7 airboxes. I had a few problems while I was figuring out how to make them, and a couple of other issues that I tackled as well that I want to bring you guys along to see some problems and solutions in the fabricating world. So let's head down to the shop and take a look. So I've actually changed the design internally since I last made these. These were always made as 3 separate pieces, but the brackets that hold the lid on, which is now this section, used to always be welded into the sides. This actually creates more welding to make the product, but I'm hoping it'll be a much nicer product when it's done. They come in a MAF-less and MAF design. So this is 2mm aluminium, and the settings that I'm going to use: amperage, I'm going to use a pulse setting, so my background current, pulse width or pulse ratio, and my frequency, clean width, or AC balance as that might be. So this machine is backwards to most other machines, and my frequency. There, I do have post flow as well.
What are you talking about?
So it actually took no time to tack them up with this new design. So I'll run through my thoughts on this first go at welding one of these airboxes. So I started from this end here for my first weld and worked towards this corner here. You can see in this section the weld sinks down a little bit, which means that it got too hot. I didn't use a chill block, and this is actually a really thin section to try and disperse the heat. Next, I spun around to the bottom, and I actually worked from this corner in this direction and stopped in this corner here. I don't normally work towards a corner. I like to keep all my ends, all my stop starts in one point on the product. This is normally a big no-no for me, but I was worried about that. I was worried about that additional heat through this section here, so I moved away from it. And then what that actually caused me to do, which is another thing that I don't like to do, is weld this last seam into the corner. I always like to go out from the corner. So again, we've got a start stop, or just a stop in this case, on the corner of the product and on the corner of the product, and normally I'd like to see that on one of the ends. So what I'm going to try for the next one is actually welding it from the top. So this narrow section is facing down, and I'll be able to run a chill block across the top. So I thought you guys might be interested in some of the thought process that goes into even something as simple as how I plan the welds of one of my products. So let's have a look at this second idea and see how that goes. So this time I welded it from this angle and started in this corner here. So you can see by using the chill block through here, no issues with the weld when we went through that thin section. And I continued the weld in this direction all the way around the product, and finishing at the corner here, and then I started from this corner here and finished at this end here. So that's how I prefer to weld a product. I did make two mistakes while I was welding this product. Welding from this direction, I actually made a judgment call when I started this weld, and I used too short of a length of filler rod, and I stopped here, and that forced me to do a stop start right there. Now you can see the etching zone in that stop start, but when it's powder coated, which this one will be, you will not tell that there was a stop start on that weld. The other error that I made was in this section here. It was actually the end of my welding rod hit against the camera as I was welding, and that caused me to have some issues with this section of weld here. That is the bottom of the product, so I will still deem that as acceptable. And you can see here we got good penetration on those welds. You can see where I thought I was going to have heat issues, I actually I increased my travel speed to try and stop overheating the part through here, and you can see that I did that on the penetration from the backside, which is a nice little insight into how the minor things you do while you're welding can have a major impact on the actual product that you're making. So here is the finished section of the EVO airbox that we made yesterday through here. This was actually where I believe I hit the camera, which means this one here we had a stop start somewhere in this area, and like I mentioned, you wouldn't be able to tell once it's been powder coated. So when I assemble these, I like to wind all the bolts in just to check that all the threads are functioning. There's nothing worse, I think, than if a customer receives that, only to learn from the customer that the threads are bound up with powder coat or they're cross-threaded or something I've overlooked. So I fully assemble everything before it goes out. That's the reason I do that. And then finally, we fit this little body bracket. This connects just near the fuse box and just supports this outer edge of the lid. Now we'll package him up and ship him out to the customer. But as always, thank you guys so much for spending this time with me. I truly appreciate it, and it really motivates me to make these videos and want to do much better on them. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.